just one drop, but together we are an ocean. I welcome everyone to our second day of our orientation for the roles of parents in the new learning um, or the new normal. Okay, so to officially start our session this afternoon, may I request everybody to put ourselves in the most holy presence of God, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessings and help us as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best that we can be. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, everybody, welcome. And I would like to acknowledge our Schools Division Superintendent, Sir Eddie Oplinaria, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Mary Ann Aliera. Good afternoon, Ma'am. Our CID Chief, Ma'am Mary Arlene Carbonera. Our SGOD Chief, Ma'am Maricar Ablin. To all our stakeholders, our partners, our municipal mayors and other parents, division, DepEd personnel, good afternoon. So to start our session this afternoon, may I request Dr. Earl Villagonzalo to give us a statement of the purpose. Sir Earl.
Hello, everyone. My respect to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Edelberto Oplinaria, to our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Mary Ann Aliera, to our CID chief, Dr. Mary Arlene Carbonera, and to the SGOD chief, Dr. Maria Carmela Ablin, to the municipal mayors who are in attendance, to the federated PTA officers, parents, my colleagues, the public schools district supervisors, and the education program supervisors who are in attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the second day of our webinar on the role of parents in the new learning landscape. Okay, so yesterday there were actually three speakers who talk about three very important topics. So one is about the health protocols in dealing with COVID-19, and the second, which is very important, is the different learning modalities. So it was shared by Dr. Angelito Barazona, the different learning modalities that the division will be implementing this coming August 24, 2020. And of course, one also of the most important topics that was discussed yesterday was on the crucial role of parents in educating their children in this new learning landscape. Okay, so this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I will be discussing another very important topic. Okay, so I will be presenting now. Okay, so my topic this afternoon will be on assessment and monitoring of learners' performance, the role of parents in the assessment process. By the way, my name is Earl C. Villagonzalo, Education Program Supervisor in Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao in the Division of Lanao del Norte. So before we will talk about the assessment and monitoring of learners' performance, let's talk about the session objective first. So at the end of the session, participants are expected to understand the nature of learners assessment in the new learning landscape. So I will be talking briefly about the new learning landscape later. So second objective is, okay, the participants are also expected to understand the role of parents in the assessment process. So since we are dealing with a very different situation compared before, so this time there is actually a shift of responsibilities, no? So we are now actually involving the parents in the education of our learners. So in my topic, we will be talking about the crucial role of parents in the assessment process. Why? Because as we all know, so our country is hit by this COVID-19 pandemic, and whether we like it or not, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed our lives. Okay, so it has actually affected us, and then many of us, or maybe all of us, are very anxious about this. Ang dami pong stress na pumapasok sa ating katawan because of that. No, in fact, our physical, mental, and emotional well-being are affected. So second, the economic aspect of each one of us, no, is also affected. So many have lost their jobs because of this pandemic. So therefore, ang dami pong naghihirap ngayon because there are companies which stop operation because of this pandemic that we are facing today. And of course, the education aspect also is affected by this pandemic. Okay, so that is why there is a need for us to shift our focus. So that is why we are operating, the Department of Education is actually operating on the new learning landscape. So hindi po pwede na walang klase this school year 2020 to 2021. No, according to Secretary Leonor Biones, education must continue. Okay. So we will be what is the new normal in education, ladies and gentlemen? So in the new normal in education, there is actually a shift of learning space. Before the pandemic, teachers are handling their classes in the classroom. However, during this time, we will no longer be conducting classes in the classroom, but instead, classes will be conducted in our learners' respective homes. Okay, so shift of learning space. So that is why we are actually appealing to the parents who are in attendance now that as much as possible ato ang tigaan og learning space ang bata sa atong balay para sila na ay matrabahuan sa ilaang mga activities nga gipanghatag sa mga ilang maestra, particularly the different modules of the different learning areas. So importante kayo ang learning space para na ay focus ang bata sa pagtuon nila sa ilahang klase. And then we also have a shift of learning delivery. So it was explicitly discussed by Dr. Angelito Barasuna yesterday, the different modalities that will be implemented in the division of Lanao del Norte. So since face-to-face instruction is no longer possible, so we have to resort to different learning modalities such as online learning, okay, the RBI, radio-based instruction, the television-based instruction, the modular approach. So those are our learning modalities that will be implemented. So it's really different compared before. And at the same time, there is also a shift of responsibility in the teaching and learning process. Okay? So we really need the help of the parents in educating their children. So the Department of Education cannot do it alone. So we need your help, no? In this present time, since we are facing this very challenging times due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So kailangan po namin kayo, we need your help. Otherwise, our goal, which is to give relevant and responsive basic education to our learners, will not be possible without your help. And there is also a shift in the learning assessment. So, I heard some questions. Sir, pwede ba nating i-forgo ang assessment in this during this time? The answer is no, because assessment is very important. So let me talk about the importance of assessment. So what you're seeing now is the trifocal system of the teaching and learning process. Okay, so the three important components form a triangle. So in some of the books, the authors call it educational triad. So if you can see on top of the triangle, there is this learning competency. And then we also have learning activities, and then we have assessment. So these three important components must be present in order to complete the entire system of teaching and learning process. Pag ni-remove mo si assessment, hindi po kompleto si the teaching and learning process. So wala pong mangyayari sa bata. We will not be able to determine if the students are actually learning or not without assessment. Okay. So if you can recall, before, we are actually focusing on assessment of learning. Si assessment of learning po, ito pong tinatawag natin na summative assessment. Okay? So, summative assessment, the results of this are used for grading. Okay? Because summative assessment evaluate learners' learning performance at the end of an instructional unit. However, in this time, we are shifting from assessment of learning to assessment for learning. So ang ibang tawag ng assessment for learning is formative assessment. Okay, formative assessment. So formative assessment monitor learners learning to provide ongoing feedback that can be used by instructors to improve their teaching and by students to improve their learning. So before, we do not actually use the results for grading. However, this time it's different. We will be using the results of formative assessment in determining whether students are improving in terms of their performance. Okay, so let me show you the legal basis of the shift from assessment of learning to assessment for learning. Okay, so before the pandemic, there is the DepEd Order number 8, Series 2015, entitled Policy Guidelines on Classroom Assessment for K-12 Basic Education Program. So we are using that as basis in assessing our learners. We also have DepEd Order number 55, Series 2016, which is the Policy Guidelines on National Assessment of Student Learning for K-12 Basic Education Program. So we are actually anchoring our assessment process on these two orders before the pandemic. However, during the pandemic, nagsishift na po tayo. Now, based on DepEd Order number 12 Series 2020, which is the Learning Continuity Plan of DepEd, so ang assessment na gagamitin natin ngayon is portfolio assessment. Okay? So one of the very important aspect that we need to understand in DO number 12 Series 2020 is that summative assessment will only be employed when face-to-face learning is possible. Okay? Klaro po yan ha? So wala pong summative assessment na mangyayari kung walang face-to-face learning or face-to-face instruction. However, national assessment shall still be administered. Okay, yon. Parents' involvement and commitment to assist their children in the preparation of portfolio is necessary. So that is why if you can see in my first slide, the role of parents in the assessment process, because we need you, no, we need your help in the assessment process so that we could get the right feedback whether your learners or your children whether are improving or not in their respective performances in the different learning areas. Okay, next is teachers shall orient the parents on the preparation of portfolio. Actually, this is our first step. We are orienting the public schools district supervisors, the municipal mayors, the federated PTA officials, as well as other parents who are listening right now about portfolio assessment. Okay, why shift in assessment? Okay, so what's the most important thing that we should remember is in shifting assessment is to know whether the intended learning outcomes have been achieved by the students or whether they need extra work to help them master a certain topic. Okay. So magbibigay po kami ng modules for those students who opted to have the modular approach. And then per module po, mayroon po tayong expected learning outcomes. Okay? So the activities there, the result of the activities will determine whether the intended learning outcomes have been achieved or not. Okay? So yan ang ang focus natin in shifting assessment from summative assessment to formative assessment. Okay. So ano ba let's talk about learning outcomes. Let's talk about learning outcomes. What do we mean by learning outcomes? Okay, ito po yung definition ng learning outcomes. It is a clear statement of what a learner is expected to be able to do. Okay, know about and or value at the completion of a unit of study and how well they should be expected to achieve those outcomes. Okay? For example, nagbibigay ng module si mathematics teacher. And then the topic is all about four fundamental operations, specifically on addition. So expected learning outcome niya, for example, is the learner will be able to add two-digit numbers. So yun ang example ng learning outcome. So at the end of the module, it is expected na the students could add two-digit numbers. Okay, so that's an example because that is what is expected of that child to do or to know about or value after the completion of a unit of study. Okay. Now, so si learning outcomes, saan makikita po si learning outcomes? Okay, so the teacher should bear this in mind because they will be preparing their individual learning plan. Okay, instead of DLL, kasi si DLL kasi pang face-to-face instruction si DLL. Ngayon, wala naman tayong face-to-face instruction, so we will shift to the individual learning plan. So what are the important components of the learning plan? So number one, dapat present si learning outcomes po. And then, si most essential learning competencies to be mastered. And then the day-to-day learning activities or schedule. And then the learning resources and forms of assessment. Okay? Forms of assessment. So those are the important components of a learning plan. Bigyan ko kayo, okay. And please, it is very important to note for the teachers as well as the parents that both of them, the teacher and the parent, should know about the individual learning plan. So ang mangyayari dito, si teacher, after preparing the learning plan of their learners, kailangan they have to talk to the parents and discuss their learning plan. Nganong ingon ana man nato, nganong i-discuss man nato ang individual learning plan sa parents? Kay wala man si teacher dito sa balay nag-atang permente. So si parents man ang mo assist ni child para ma-realize ang learning outcome na nakastipulate sa individual learning plan ni teacher. Okay? So, klaro po yan ha. So, si teacher and parents must talk. So, they must talk. So, teacher must collaborate with the parents so that the learning outcomes that are expected for the student to do will be realized. Okay, so what then are the roles of parents? Okay, yun sinabi ko kanina, be familiar with the learning plan of their own children as designed by their respective teachers. Inform or post a copy of the learning plan in the study area of the child. Okay, so additional work po ng parents dito. So please post a copy of the learning plan in the study area of the child. Why is this important? So that the parent and the child will always be reminded about what is expected by the child per day. Kasi may expected learning outcome po sila every day. Okay? Per learning area. And then, of course, parents should monitor the performance of the child based on the learning plan. Okay? So all these things will never be realized if si parent and teacher will never talk. So yan ang crucial role of parents in the assessment process. Okay, ito po yung sample ng individual learning plan. Okay, so sa individual learning plan po, may time po siya 10:30 to 11:10 for example. 40 minutes kasi si Araling Panlipunan. Okay, ang sample natin dito, Araling Panlipunan. Okay, most essential learning competency, of course, it can be found. Teachers are given already their most essential learning competency. So, nasasabi ang batayang impormasyon tungkol sa sarili, pangalan, magulang, kaarawan. Yun na rin ang learning outcomes natin. Okay, what is stipulated in the learning competency. So, ano po yung lesson or topic? Ako ay natatangi. Okay. Look at the learning activities per day. So, examine how it is being phrased or stated. Okay. Si Monday, makikita po nyo, modular approach because we assuming na pinili ng bata si modular approach. Okay? Number 1, look at how it is stated. Gabayan ang anak sa, gabayan ang anak sa pagbabasa ng SLM, ako ay natatangi, babasahin, pagkilala sa sarili, pagtukoy sa sariling pangalan, araw ng kapaganakan, edad, tirahan, pangalan ng magulang at paralan na pasalita. So, those are the learning outcomes that are expected from the learners. No, kailangan ko sa Monday, kailangan matukoy sa ang sariling pangalan, araw ng kapaganakan, edad, tirahan, pangalan ng magulang at paralan na pasalita. Okay. So 'yon, kailangan matutukan po ng parents ang expected learning outcome na 'yan. That at the end of the day, kinahanglan makabalo ng bata when the child is asked about his birth date, no? His age, his place of residence, the name of parents, at the end of the day, dapat ma-istorya na sa bata after sa pagbasa sa module. Okay. So next, Tuesday, iba na naman ang expected learning outcomes natin. Pagsusulat sa sariling pangalan. So in the first day, if you notice, pagtukoy sa sariling pangalan. In the second day, pagsulat sa sariling pangalan, araw ng kapanganakan. So, in other words, ladies and gentlemen, every day, there is a different expected learning outcome from the learners. Okay, so that's how teachers will craft their individual learning plan. Okay? O, gabayan ng anak sanayin ang anak sa pagsabi. Okay? So meaning, from the statement, the way the statement is being phrased, it is very clear that there is always, or there should always be, a participation from the parents. Okay, so again, as I have mentioned earlier, we cannot actually carry out the things that we want to have without the help of the parents. Okay, so ngayon, as I mentioned earlier, my topic will be about portfolio assessment. Ngayon, titingnan natin, what is a portfolio? Actually, portfolio is not new to the teachers because every grading period, even my daughter, every grading period, babisi doon na siya after the exam or before the exam, kaya ano man, pangayuan man ni teacher o portfolio. However, I've noticed also na sa portfolio ng bata, it's just a mere compilation of all the activities done by the child, which is actually should not be the case. Si portfolio po, hindi lang siya compilation of all the activities and then you will submit that to the teacher para si teacher naman ay bigyan ng grado. Okay? So that's not the complete concept of a portfolio. So this afternoon, we will be talking about what a real portfolio is. Okay. So of course, portfolio in education is actually a collection of work gathered by the students. And this collection should tell the story of a student's effort, progress, or achievement. Okay? So pag dinisplay mo lang ang result ng quizzes or any activities ng bata and then pinaste mo siya sa bond paper and then you compile it in a folder without actually telling a story about those things, then it is actually good as nothing. No? Kasi ano naman siya those are just numbers. Okay, what's the meaning if there is the child gets 12 over 15? So what's the meaning of that? So we need to look for meaning of all the things that are done by our learners. Okay? Okay. So why do we use portfolio? So portfolio enables learners to reflect their performance. Okay. So when the learner compiles the results of all their activities, makikita naman niya yun makikita naman niya, okay, am I progressing based on the results of the activities that I have on hand? Okay, maybe sa first activity, 10 over 40 ako. Sa next activity, nagiging 20 over 40 na. In the next activity, nagiging 30 over 40 na. So in other words, if I will look at the results, so the trend is increasing. So I will be able to tell as a learner that I am actually improving in terms of performance kasi nag-i-increase yung mga scores ko, no? Okay. And it also shows learners' weak and strong domain. Okay. Ito, very important to. I'll go back to mathematics naman. So, in your portfolio, kasi for fundamental operations, we have addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So, assuming na isang grading period yan. So, pag tingin ng bata sa results ng kanyang addition, very high. Okay, almost perfect yung scores niya. However, pag tingin niya sa result ng multiplication niya, very low naman. So what does that tell to the students or to the learner? Meaning that means na si learner is good in addition but weak in multiplication. So that's one advantage of having a portfolio because you can see the learner's weaknesses and strong points. Third, observes learner's progress during the learning process. Okay, na-discuss ko na po yan. And of course, it encourages learners to take responsibilities of their own learning. So, pwede niyang gawing motivation yan. So, when he sees that the score is actually decreasing, I am talking about that trend. So, pwedeng gawing motivation yan. Uy, there's something wrong here. My scores are decreasing. So, what will I do? So, I need to study more. Of course, that could be done with the help of the parents in this new situation. Learners will not be able to have or achieve that such motivation without actually having their parents at their back. Okay. So, mayroon po tayong tatlong types of portfolios for classroom. Una, we have the working portfolio. Second, developmental portfolio. The other term for developmental portfolio is assessment for portfolio. And then we have the third, we have the showcase portfolio. So, what's the difference between and among these types? Let's examine. Okay. Si working portfolio, it's actually a project containing work in progress as well as finished samples of work. Pag si learner are just compiling all the results of the activities, projects, and other things, ang tawag dyan, and then put that in the folder, ang tawag po niyan is working portfolio. Okay? Because it is just a mere compilation of all the things done by the learner. Okay? So, it's called working portfolio. So, the next is developmental portfolio. Okay. Si portfolio kasi, it's not just compilation of all. Take note ha, si portfolio is not just a compilation of all the results of the activities made by the students. Okay. Kasi, when we talk about portfolio, kailangan it represents a completed selection of student work. So, si assessment portfolio, hindi necessary na i-attach mo lahat ang results ng activities ng bata, no? Because it should contain work that shows the student's progress towards mastery of set objectives for a topic, theme, or course of work, and provides evidence of his or her achievement over a period of time. So, in other words, when you prepare an assessment portfolio, dapat may clear selection kung ano ba ang ilalagay natin. So, yung mga results that would show that the students are actually progressing, no, towards the mastery of set of objectives for a topic. Yan si developmental portfolio. And then si showcase portfolio naman, so iba po ito, it actually depends on your purpose because si showcase portfolio shows the students' best work. Parang pang-exhibit siya na portfolio because, okay, ano bang best work ng student? I have to compile this best work and then place it in a folder and then that becomes your portfolio. No? So it used to support and document accomplishments in a course or subject area or any learning activity. And it also requires the student to be able to make a selection from a range of work using specific criteria. Okay. So ito na po yung very important. What goes into the portfolio? So unsa man day atong ibutang sa portfolio? Okay, we have evidence as well as production. Okay. So these are the two important components or things that should be placed in the portfolio. Let's talk about it one by one. So, si evidence. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng evidence? It refers to all the pieces of work that are included in the portfolio. That's according to Collins 1992. Okay? Each evidence is referred to as entry. This is the new term. When we speak about portfolio, for example, test result. Test result. So, si test result can be referred to as entry. Okay? So, lagay mo yan, it becomes an evidence. No? So, mayroon kayong activity, then, chinek ng teacher, and then, mayroon ng score, binalik sa inyo. Okay? So, that becomes an evidence, and that, when you do a portfolio, and then, you place that in your portfolio, that becomes an entry. No? So, entry na ang tawag doon. Okay. So, ano bang types of evidences? Okay. So, artifacts, reproductions, and attestations. Okay. So, si artifacts kasi, dalawa yung spelling niya. Mayroong artifacts na TI, mayroon ding artifacts na TE. Both are actually accepted. Let's talk about artifacts muna. So, artifacts are pieces of work produced by students as a normal part of the teaching and learning process. So, if you can see in the picture, yun yung result ng test niya. So, that is an example of an artifact. Okay, so other examples of artifacts, si essays, problems, si projects, summaries, reviews, investigative reports. Meron naman tayong investigatory projects. That's one example of an artifact. Test results, yung drawings. No? For example, si Mape, pinadraw niya ang bata. No? Okay? So, and then the drawing was checked, and then it was scored. So, it becomes an artifact or an evidence. Si reproductions naman, ano ang ibig sabihin ng reproductions? So, reproductions are captured events that occur during the normal teaching and learning activities. So, hindi yung masyadong nakikita, no? Test scores are actually visible naman siya. So, when the students take the test, it is expected na mayroon siyang test result. Si reproductions, iba to. Okay. So, examples of reproductions are photographs of displays. Okay. So, for example, may display na ginagawa ang mga bata. So, the learner took picture of that display. So, it can be used, it can be placed in the portfolio, and we call that as reproduction. Okay? Pero evidence pa rin because reproduction is under evidence. Okay, we have models. Okay, pinagawa si bata ng model of a DNA, na deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, pinagawa si bata ng model of an atom. Okay, yun. That is an example of a reproduction. So, another example of reproduction is video and audio production of performances and presentations. Okay? So, for example, sa MAPE, okay, pinasayaw mo ang bata, kinuhanan mo ng video, pinakanta mong bata, kinuhanan mo ng audio. Okay, you can actually use that as evidence in the portfolio. And we call that evidence as reproduction. Okay? So, hindi lang po, in other words, the content of the portfolio is not only limited to test scores. Okay? So there are a lot of things that we could place inside the portfolio. Okay. Pwede rin ito, attestations. Okay, attestations. Ano ba tong attestations? Pwede rin itong ilagay sa portfolio natin. Testimonials of the work of the portfolio developer. Okay? So pag nakikita for example, you're doing an investigatory project. Tapos nagustuhan ni barangay captain ang investigatory project mo because it has the potential to solve emerging problems in your barangay. So binigyan ka ng certificate ni barangay captain. Okay, certificate of recognition, certificate of appreciation. So yon, pwede mo siyang ilagay sa portfolio. It's an example of attestation. However, okay, kailangan ito very important to remember as a reminder then. While a document attesting to the good work of the portfolio developer adds value to the portfolio, it should never be solicited. Okay. Oh, mga parents, very important to. Oy silingan, barangay captain, tigain na pugog certificate of recognition ng akong anak ngano man para mo dako ang grado niya sa portfolio bisag dili tinuod. Okay, dili po na siya pwede. Kinahanglan nato na siya bantayan. It should never be solicited, no? Okay. Basig magbuhat-buhat daghan na kay attestation dili day tinuod, no? Kay gipabuhat lang, no? Kaya ang atong maninoy sa kasal ang atuang igagaw barangay captain or mayor. Bana, konsihal. 'Yon. So examples of attestations are letter of commendations or certificate of appreciations from the parent. Okay. Si parent naman, pwede naman gumawa ng certificate of appreciation. Pagtanaw niya, uy, nindot man ay kayo mo drawing ang akong anak. Okay. So bigyan mo ng certificate of appreciation. Pero ito reminder basig mag-coincide imong certificate of appreciation sa drawing. Ibutang dito certificate of appreciation kay nindot kayo mo drawing imong anak. Ande pagtanaw sa drawing dili day maayo kuan ang drawing, no? So yun na. So the teacher could also give certificate of appreciations, si peer, si principal, si school official, si community-based organization, parent-teacher association. Okay? And that adds value to your portfolio. So pag may letter of commendation, may certificate of appreciation coming from these people, that becomes an added value to your portfolio or to the portfolio of the learner. Okay, ito example ng attestation. By the way, I forgot to mention, some of the content of these slides are actually taken from the talk of Dr. Olga Alonsabi, the Schools Division Superintendent of El Salvador City. I forgot to acknowledge the work of Dr. Olga. Okay, so example of attestation, we have Dear Jocelyn, Anna May, and Madge. Okay, this is great. I'm truly excited about what you have done for several reasons, and so on and so forth. Congratulations once again. Keep up the good work. Teacher Jade. Okay. So yun ang example of an attestation. It's a simple letter, but it adds value to the portfolio. Okay? Provided, of course, that it's the truth. Wag mo namang sabihin, teacher, na great siya pag hindi naman great siya. Especially hindi naman yung mga ginagawa niya hindi naman align sa learning objectives mo. Okay. So next is the production. Okay. Productions. Convert the collection of work into a portfolio and then gives meaning to the collection of student work. Ano to si production? All the evidences are already there, present. You compile that, ilinagay mo sa folder or any material, pinabind mo pa, tapos mayroon ng all the important parts of a portfolio, ang tawag doon productions. Okay? Okay, so what are the categories of productions? Okay. So ito, hindi ko nakikita, these are the important components that are neglected by the teacher when they ask their learners to make a portfolio. Number 1, kailangan po, si portfolio, mayroon po siyang purpose statement. Okay, purpose statement. Please do not forget that. At the beginning of the portfolio, kailangan may purpose statement siya. We'll talk about the details of purpose statement later. Next is captions. Lahat po ng, for example, mayroon siyang test score. Kailangan may caption po ang test score na iniligay nyo sa portfolio. Okay? Because what's very important is to give meaning to that result. Okay? So again, what's very important is to give meaning to that result. Ang tawag niyan, reflective statement. Again, ang tawag po niyan sa caption, reflective statement. Okay? And then, at the last part is the reflective summary. Okay? Kailangan meron po siyang reflection, otherwise our portfolio will be useless. Okay? So, let's show the purpose statement. So, purpose statement is an introductory statement that informs the reader of the knowledge, skills, and competencies. Okay? Yun ang dapat ilagay ng bata. May also include the uses that the portfolio may serve. It's a personal statement of the intentions of the portfolio developer, and it gives focus of the portfolio development process. Okay? Ito yung example ng purpose statement. This portfolio shows how I develop my functional writing skills in my language arts class. Okay? So, yun, yung purpose statement niya. Then another example, okay, this portfolio shows how I was able to develop and use two basic and two integrated process skills in a unit on pests and parasites in science. It also shows my skill in designing an experiment that includes two process skills. Okay? So, in other words, sinusulat ng bata kung ano ang important things na na-develop niya in the activities that are actually presented in the portfolio. So, in the last example, ang very important points na tinutukoy niya is yung two basic and two integrated process skills in the unit on pests and parasites. And then another thing na hina-highlight niya, yung skill in designing an experiment. Okay? 'Di ba ito yung mga task na pinagawa ni teacher. So makikita ito sa learning outcomes. Okay, next caption. As I mentioned earlier, it's actually a reflective statement that is attached to each entry in the portfolio. It captures the processes that inform the entry, infusing it with meaning. Okay. It also describes what the entry is, why it is an evidence, what it is evidence of, and how the entry could be improved. Okay, ito very important to remember. The caption should answer questions such as, what is this? Why is this significant? What does this show about my understandings and abilities? What have I learned? Okay. Those are the important things that we need to consider when writing a caption. Okay? Okay, so these are the different terms, no? Used aside from the word caption. Okay, so other books use the word cover letter for the entry slip, entry reflection, rational or explanation for the entry. Ito yung example of a caption, oh. Okay, mayroon siyang, ipipicture out nyo lang na mayroon document or evidence na naka-attach. Tapos ito yung caption niya. Okay, this is a story about a day in my life. I could have improved the piece by writing a nicer part of my life. I especially like my work because I got to talk about myself. I am happy because I wrote exactly what my day was like. O, di ba? So may reflection siya. The child is actually giving meaning to the evidence that is placed in the portfolio. And again, bawat entry ng inyong portfolio, mayroon pong kagaya nito, no? Mayroon po siyang caption or reflective statement. Pwede rin, for example, in a test given by the teacher, tapos ang score niya is only 2/10. So pwede niyang lagyan ng reflective statement. What's happening to me? Why am I having this score 2/10? So this is a failing score. Hindi ito passing score. So what happened to me? Pwedeng i-discuss ng bata in the reflective statement. So ano ba bakit ba bakit nagkaroon siya ng ganong score, feeling score in that particular test. No? And then in that way also, so when the teacher reads the caption, so pwede niyang gawing information yon in order to help the learner from improving. So baka ilalagay ng bata kasi I got this score because I actually could hardly read the text that is present in the test given by the teacher. So that is information is a very powerful tool in order to help the teacher, the learner rather, in improving. No? So, hindi pala marunong bumasa ang bata. So, what will I do as a teacher? Okay, so dapat turuan ko ito ng pagbasa so that the next time that this child will take the test, so papasa na siya. Kasi ang pagbasa is a big factor in getting good scores in the test. So yun. Okay. So si reflective summary naman, it covers everything. It covers the reflection of the learner for the entire activities that he took, no? Okay, so reflective summary is a critique of the entire body of work in the portfolio. It can contain a single reflective summary or may contain more than one reflective summary with each one addressing a different section of the portfolio. Okay. So reflective summary pwedeng ilagay sa end, pwede ring at the beginning of the portfolio. Pero para sa akin, for us to be uniform with regards to the placement of the important components of a portfolio, lagay na lang natin ito sa last, no? May logic po pag nilagay natin sa last. Kasi evidence, and then before you can do the reflection, kailangan ma-present ng evidence, di ba? So it's better to place the reflective summary at the end, at the last part of the portfolio. Okay? Okay, so reflective summary shows new learnings such as the ability to critically assess, transfer, integrate, or apply knowledge. Now, traces how the developer has captured and portrayed growth, competencies, and context. Okay. So, ito yung sample ng reflective summary ng bata. Babasahin ko lang. When I started my portfolio, I had no idea what it was about. I tried to follow my teacher's instruction. I am now internalizing a lot of the concepts and things are beginning to fall into place for me. It's a very good realization, no? But the most difficult area in the whole process for me was writing captions. I was often torn between writing my own feelings and meeting the detailed guidelines. In the end, my own feelings won out because I wrote what made sense to me. The pieces I selected, I think, really show my growing confidence in trying new assessment strategies with my students. I am no longer test-oriented, but I see assessment in a broad light and cherish the value of assessment for understanding and developing my students, and so on. Okay. So, yun yung example ng reflective summary niya. Okay. Sir, baka may parents na sasabihin, Sir, ang mahal naman ng gumagawa ng portfolio. What shall we use? Okay. So for our dear parents who are listening right now, hindi po necessary na mamahalin po ang gagamitin sa inyong portfolio. Okay? Hindi po necessary. Pwede kayong mag-recycle actually, no? Pwede, please use the creativity of your children. Kung ang uban nga mga bata nagamit og mahalon, mga accordion folder, binder, kay mahal man jud na karon, dili necessary nga moawat sila, no? Again, remind your children to use their creativity. Pwede nga yung simple folder, You can recycle the folder that has been used already. Uh, ano lang, decorate, i-decorate nyo lang or i-drawing nyo lang, i-color nyo lang. Okay. So, pwede na magiging portfolio yon. So, hindi necessary na bibili pa kayo, gagastos pa kayo para magkaroon ng portfolio. Okay. Ito po yung phases of portfolio development. It will always start with collection of evidences. And then, of course, selection. Again, yung portfolio natin, hindi pwedeng lahat isali. Kailangan i-select nyo lang what will be the basis of selection. The basis of this selection is it's very important to show how the learners progress through time. So yung results niya, okay, paano siya nag-progress? Paano siya nag-improve? No? So yun ang isi-select nyo. Nag-improve ba siya? And then, of course, there should be selection. And then si projection, ang meaning ng projection dito, yung pag-prepare ng portfolio nyo and then you will submit that to the teacher. That's projection. Okay. So those are the different phases, the 4 phases of portfolio development. Okay. So ito na yung buong part ng portfolio natin. Okay? Of course, may cover page po tayo. If you will use a simple folder, so yun, may cover page tayo, and then lagyan natin ng table of contents, and then bibigyan din natin ng additional component, which is the autobiography. Unsa galing autobiography? These are statements about the students or the learner. Name, age, but of course, in the autobiography wag nating lagay yung sensitive information. For example, yung cellphone number, as much as possible, kung may cellphone ng bata, wag nating ilagay sa autobiography. Sensitive information yon, yung cellphone number. Okay, yung mga pwede yung email ad, pwede na rin, but all the sensitive information as much as possible should be avoided. Do not place that in the autobiography. Yung hobby ng bata, what else? Yung skill niya, so ano ba ang mga skills ng bata, and all other information pertaining to the learner. So yun si autobiography. Okay, after the autobiography, so si entries na. Lagay nyo na entries or evidences with caption. Of course, the entire part, no, the entire part na mayroon na si purpose statement, and then after the purpose statement, lagay nyo si evidences, and then lagay evidences na provided na may caption si bawat evidence. May reflective statement siya. Then after that, we have the reflective summary. And that completes a portfolio of a learner. So yon. So again, cover page, table of contents, autobiography, your main part there, the purpose statement, the evidence, and then the reflective summary. So yun ang buong portfolio natin. Okay? So hindi lang po siya mere compilation of evidences, and then wala tayong ginagawa, walang reflection na gagawin ang bata. Okay, so this is very important. Roles of the primary stakeholders in the portfolio development process. Si teacher's role, designer po siya, at the same time assessor. Sir, paano po nagiging designer si teacher? Because si teacher, designer siya because the teacher gives the learning outcomes. The teacher sets the guidelines of the portfolio. So ano ba ang dapat nating ilagay sa portfolio? Si teacher ang nagdi-design yan. And at the same time, si teacher assessor din. No? Siya yung nag-a-assess sa portfolio ng bata. Okay. Now, parent as monitor. Ito, very, very important to. For those parents who are listening right now. Now, you are responsible for maintaining the integrity of the portfolio. Ano po ang ibig sabihin ng responsible for maintaining the integrity of the portfolio? Kailangan po na honest kayo. Kailangan po na bawat activity, hindi po kayo ang gumagawa. Okay, for example, sa module ng bata. Sa module ng bata na ipamimigay namin, mayroon po tayong different activities there na kailangan nilang sagutan. As much as possible, kailangan po, hindi po as much as possible, kailangan po sila po mismo ang mag-a-answer ng mga activities. Okay. Your role there is to guide them. If there are confusions, ipaliwanag nyo kung ano yung confusion nila, tapos let them answer the activity. Hindi po si ate, si lola, si kuya, si papa, si mama ang mag-a-answer ng portfolio, ng activities nila. Okay. Responsible parents are responsible for maintaining the integrity of the portfolio. Okay? Yan. And then you have to make sure that it represents, it really represents the efforts of the students and not the effort of the parents or family members. So yun, ini-emphasize ko na yan kanina na dapat sa kanila talaga it represents their effort, not the effort of their family members or other people na gagawa ng portfolio. Okay. So student's role naman, developer siya ng portfolio niya. Okay? Now, this is the most crucial. Maraming nagtatanong, how do we assess the portfolio? Of course, you know already the answer. Okay. By the way, you are actually viewing now sample portfolios of the learners. 'Di ba? Very simple lang naman, hindi naman mamahalin yung ibang gamit nila. Okay? So the teacher one important thing to consider, one important thing as a reminder to the teacher, please do not demand for expensive materials. Again, teachers, please do not demand for expensive materials. I understand kayo po yung designer, pero when it comes to materials to be used, please do not demand for expensive ones. Let the creativity of the learners be shown in making their portfolio. Okay? Okay. So ito po, paano po tayo mag-assess? Of course, we have to use rubrics. So for the parents, ito po yung sample ng rubrics or form of a rubric. Okay. So mayroon po tayong criteria, mayroon po tayong scoring guide, kung kailan ang bata bibigyan ng 1, kung kailan bibigyan ng 2, kung kailan bibigyan ng 3, at kailan bibigyan ng 4, which is exemplary in the example that you're viewing right now. No? Okay. So very important to remember also, portfolio assessment is characterized by a clearly stated purpose. So a purpose statement, observable aspects which are provided by the evidence included in the portfolio, means of eliciting performance which are the guidelines for collecting and assembling evidence. So in other words, si teacher kailangan mag-set siya ng guidelines, no? Okay. And then a clearly articulated scoring strategy. So ito na yung rubrics natin. So si assessment, okay. So ito gagawa tayo ng rubrics. Okay, so what you're viewing right now is also a sample rubric. So may different criteria siya, theme, mood, rhyming, and then we have levels of performance, and then corresponding score. So paano makakuha ng 2? For example, sa criteria ng theme. Kung makakuha ng 2, if the work has strong link to the overall. So paano naman siya makakuha ng link? There is a weak link to overall theme. So ganyan po tayo we have to be objective, no? All we use rubrics, it's not 100, we are not 100% objective, but making we will fill up the objectivity of the teacher in scoring the output of the learner. So guidelines for assessment of the portfolio. Ito po, dapat, okay, ito po yung ano natin tatandaan ha, sa lahat ng mga, kailangan may quantitative component of portfolio. Okay? Quantitative component of portfolios. What are these quantitative components? We rate the portfolio of our learners. Okay. Ano po yung major portfolio components present? Yung different parts that I showed you earlier, na yung mayroon siyang cover page, si purpose statement, nandyan si evidence, then si evidence may caption, and then yung caption dapat it represents the reflection of the learner, and then mayroon po tayong reflective summary. Yun po yung major components present in the portfolio. Yung purpose niya clearly stated, bakit mo ginagawa ang portfolio na to? Then variety of evidence in support of purpose. Okay? Kailangan natin na titingnan yung evidence natin. Kailangan may connectedness yung evidence natin. So it should relate always, or it should align always to the purpose, no? To the purpose, or in other words, it should align always to the expected learning outcomes of the learner. Okay. So evidence is appropriate and sufficient to be compelling. Mayroon din tayong titingnan din natin ang qualitative components of portfolio. So dapat purpose explicit, meaning klaro siya, no? Written in voice of the developer. Yung purpose statement niya, hindi po voice ni mama, hindi po voice ng father or ni kuya or ni ate. Shows personal relevance. Each caption describes the entry with which it is associated. No? Explain why the entry is evidence, what is it evidence of, and how the entry could be improved. Okay, and the rest. Okay. So another important component is cohesiveness and integrity. Kailangan bawat evidence na ipresent natin ay interrelated. Okay? Interrelated. So mayroon din tinatawag na coherence. Okay? Okay, so appearance and presentation, we have to make it as part of our criteria also. No, kailangan yung appearance, creative in organizing and sequencing content in overall look of the portfolio. Clearly marked, well-defined headings, has visual impact. Okay, yung mga color natin, di ba? Neat siya, wala masyadong erasure. When you look at it, very clean naman siya. Okay, appealing to the eyes. And then logically sequenced with table of contents. Okay, so what you are viewing right now is an example of a rubric which contains quantitative characteristic and quantitative characteristic. So another example of a rubric also, so mayroon po siyang qualitative characteristic, mayroon po siyang cohesiveness and integrity, and then appearance and presentation. Okay. Ito, let's talk about this in detail. Dito na pumapasok ang role ng parents, no? Okay. As well as the teachers, please be reminded on this. So mayroon tayong 4 na phases, 'di ba? As mentioned earlier, we have collection, selection, reflection, and projection. Okay. Sa collection, paano natin minomonitor? No, paano natin minomonitor? Okay. So you have their means of monitoring. Compilation of accomplished activity sheets, outputs, records of teachers' feedback. So every day po, lahat ng activities ng bata, kinocompile niya. Or bawat return ni teacher ng results ng kanyang activities, kailangan kinocompile ng bata. Okay? So paano time frame? Daily po to, yung collection. Whether it is finished or submitted or not yet submitted, kailangan minomonitor natin dyan. Okay, daily ang pag-monitor. Sino bang person involved? Learner, household member, and teacher. Next, sa selection phase. Ito, weekly. It should be done weekly. So, review and select best outputs, writing caption, purpose statement, and reflective statement per entry. Okay. I understand na first week of implementation natin, wala munang masyadong gagawin ng bata. Why? Because the learner will answer the activities in the module. Tapos, the teacher will retrieve the module weekly. Okay, and then immediately the teacher will answer, will check the activities of the learner. Pag na-check na, the teacher should ensure na ibinabalik agad sa bata ang result ng kanyang activities na ginawa, so that he could begin collecting at the same time selecting. So gagawa si bata ng caption for every activity that he has done. Then gagawa siya ng reflective statement per entry. So sino ba person involved? Learner, household member, si teacher din. And then for the reflection, please check it monthly. No? This is just a guide. If you want to do it bi-monthly, it's up to you. Okay? Kayo naman ang nagsiset ng guidelines eh. No? Remember, the teachers are the designers. So therefore, you're the ones who are setting the guidelines. So pwede nyo i-change ang time frame na to. Okay? And then for the projection, of course, bi-monthly ang nilagay dito. Pero sa projection, di ba, ang projection natin is you are now having the complete portfolio to be submitted to the teacher. So pwede rin natin, instead of bi-monthly, per quarter na ang portfolio ng bata. Okay? So the learner will submit the portfolio, the done for portfolio per quarter. So again, it's up to you because you are actually setting the guidelines in the submission of the portfolio and the other activities. So person involved nito, learner, household member, and a teacher. Okay. So ito yung sa monitoring plan. So please let us take note on this para naman we could monitor the progress of our learners. Kung nagle-learn ba siya o hindi. Kasi wala na po tayong summative assessment, no? Formative assessment na lang, and then from that formative results of the formative assessment, we will compile all those all the student works, and then make a portfolio out of it. So kailangan masiguro natin na the learning outcomes which are expected for them are being carried out. So very important po yun. Okay. So I think that that ends my presentation. Let me just read this statement. Together, we teach as one. So once again, I would like to appeal to our parents that the Department of Education is actually doing its best in order to provide quality education to the learners, even if we are facing a very tough challenge, which is the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. But we cannot do it alone. We need your help. So that is why together we teach as one. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Okay. Okay, Sir Earl.
Yes, ma'am. Christine, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Earl Villagonzalo, for discussing the assessment of monitoring of learners' performance and the role of parents in educating their children. This time, let us give the floor to our second speaker who will talk about curriculum support system. May we call in Ma'am Vilma Manggubat. Ma'am Vilma, take it away.
Ma'am, nakamute ka, ma'am.
Dili madungog.
Ma'am Vilma.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Tin. Okay na.
Hi, Ma'am Vilma.
Okay. So, my respect to our school's division superintendent, Sir Edelberto Plenaria, to our assistant schools division superintendent, Ma'am Mary Ann Aliera, to our two chiefs, we have from the curriculum implementation division, Ma'am Mary Arlene Carbonera, and from HGOD, Ma'am Maria Carmela Ablin. For education program supervisors, public schools district supervisors, coordinating principals, school heads, teachers, PTA officials, parents, the LGU, the municipal mayors are around. Kanatong tanan, maayong hapon. I am very much delighted to share with you this topic on curriculum support system. Thank you so much to Dr. Cherry May Limbaco, the Schools Division Superintendent of Cagayan de Oro City, for the PowerPoint slide, since she was the one who discussed this topic during the regional webinar training last week. Now, we all know that education has been hit hard by COVID-19 pandemic. Classes were even suspended. Dropout rates has increased. And there's interruption of classes. O kinsa man ang naapektahan niining tanan, mas labaw naapektuhan ang atong school children. Dili na ako ma-move, Ma'am Tin. Okay. DepEd Education Secretary, DepEd Secretary Leon Briones stood firm that basic education classes in the Philippines will open on August 24.
Okay.
Okay.
Presentation, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Naa, sir. Dili makita, sir?
Makita diri, ma'am.
Hala,
Yes,
hala,
ma'am.
hala, hala. Pwede na ako, sir, share?
Share, ma'am. Share, ma'am.
Okay. Di lagi hala, dili makita.
Mugawas na ni, ma'am. Wait lang,
Sir?
ma'am. Adjust lang kamay, ma'am. Kaya nanay ni kuha na diri.
Yes, sir.
Imo nang gikuha ng imong presentation, ma'am. Gi-click na nimo.
Okay, click, sir, ha? Okay na, sir?
Okay, nigawas na, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you,
Thank you,
sir. So, DepEd Secretary Leon Briones stood firm that basic education classes in the Philippines will open on August 24. But that not necessarily mean that there will be face-to-face mode, as he stressed that learning cannot be postponed until a vaccine against COVID-19 becomes available. So, dili na to, according to Secretary Briones, we should never keep on changing, kanang moving our timetable, because this would just make the people confused. So, padayon gyud ta. It's also because of her passion nga padayon gyud to have this basic delivery of instruction. So, as Secretary Briones said, education cannot wait. And President Duterte also had hoped na kakayanin talaga ito ng DepEd na mabuksan ng maayos ang klase. Although there were still some parents who are still reluctant, no? Mga parents nga nagdadalawang isip whether these classes will still be pursued, mapadayon ba gyud ni siya. And we just hope that sa ngayon, maibsan ang kanilang pagdadalawang isip. Okay. We know very well that in this COVID-19 pandemic, the children are very much affected. The lockdown, the interruption of classes, dapat nagsugod na gyud unta ni atong June, but because of this pandemic, the children, the education of the children has been affected. Now, amidst this pandemic, we should also give encouragement to our learners. Bisan pa sa pandemya, we ought to give our learners the hope. Tagaan na to silang paglaom. The school children, we have to inform the parents, the students, no? The teachers are here. The Department of Education. Ang Department of Education, aniya andam nga mo tagana, andam nga mo sakripisyo, andam nga mo tayada. Bisan pa man sa atong sitwasyon karon, we have to journey with our learners. No, journey, panaw. So when we talk about journey, when we talk about panaw, na ay mga the road alone is not a smooth task, no, a smooth path to tread. Pero bisan pa ni ana na ay mga problema, still go lang gihapon ta, no? So, this would also gauge, kanisad mo, determine po ni sa ato ang katakos as educator. Now, let me share with you this timeline. Okay. Last March 9, under the proclamation of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Proclamation number 922, as he declared the state of public health emergency in our country. This was signed last March 8 and was uploaded last March 9. Maog katong panahon na nga gisuspendi ang klase sa Metro Manila, ingon man usab dinhi sa ato ang probensya sa Lanao del Norte. So gani na igipirmahan ang atong provincial governor, Executive Order number 005 series of 2020, diin gideklara ang community quarantine. Mao nga ang atong schools division superintendent nagpagawas usab og division memorandum 135 sa pagsuspendi sa klase gikan sa preschool taman sa high school, taman sa senior high, taman sa college, sa tanang pribado o pampubliko nga tunghaan sugod atong March 17 last hangtod March 30 kini pinasikad sa Executive Order number 005 series of 2020. Atong higayuna kay wala pa manahuman ang atong final exam, so apektado gid tanan. So pagka June 1, kaning June 1, mao kini ang first day sa enrollment. Gitawag nato ni og remote enrollment. Ang mga bata og ginikanan dili na mistil pang mugawa sa ilang panimalay aron magpa-enroll, kaya aduna kitay pamaagi aron malista ang mga learners. And then sa laing bahin usab, tungod kay naa pamanta sa community quarantine, na didesisyonan sa DepEd nga ang maestra, non-teaching, teaching personnel also, mag-undergo aning ang work from home. So diin dunay tahas ang tanan, magbuhat sa mga katungdanan, bisan og anaa kita sa ato ang panimalay. Karong umaabot nga August 3 up to August 20, 3 weeks before sa atong opening sa ato ang klase, aduna kitay ginatawag og pre-opening activities. Ang August 3 naapil na siya sa kwintada o kabahin sa pag-abri sa klase, ug niining mga panahona August 3 up to 20 kita mag-set sa schedule sa pagpahigayon og orientation alang sa atong mga ginikanan. Ang orientation nga pagadumalahon dili pariha sa atong naandan nga kanang naang General PTA Assembly diin kita mag-organize atong PTA officers, lahi siya. Dinhi atong i-orient ang ilang ang atong mga parents sa ilahang tahas, sa ilahang papel, sa ilahang role under the new normal. Niining panahona, i-orient nato ang mga ginikanan bahin sa ato ang learning modalities ug unsa man nga modality nga gamiton sa atong eskwelahan, sa atong tunghaan. Dili tanang modality maoy atong gamiton o magamit no sa atong school. So aduna kitay 3 weeks nga gigahin, effective again August 3 up to 20. O kining mga panahona mao kini siya ang labing mahinungdanon. Dinhi masukod ang klase sa suporta nga atong gikinahanglan sa atong mga ginikanan. Mao ni ang panahon during the orientation nga kanang ato yung likayan ba nga musulod kita aning gitawag og ningas kugon mentality. Kabalo naman siguro mo unsa nang ningas kugon, permiro sa sugod, abtik, dayon nagkawala ato ng likayan. We have to see to it nga sa pagsugod no during the orientation hangtod sa April 30 kanang naang the fire burning in us no padayon kanang naang nagpadayon gihapon ang sigasig ang kanang gitawag nato og kanang bitawng kanang aktibo ang ato ang pagkabibo, pagka-excited, dili lang kay taman ra siya sa usa ka semana, no? But this will be felt all throughout the days, no? Hangtod sa April 30. Okay. Let me share also with you sa ato ang legal basis nga mao ni ato ang sukaranan para mas masabtan natog maayo. Okay. Kabahin ni sa ato ang curriculum, kaya nga akong topic karon, curriculum support system man. So kabahin sa atong curriculum masabtan natog maayo, kini usab maghatag natog giya. This would always guide us on what are we going to do kung magsugod na ang klase. Sa dihang gipatuman ang Republic Act 10533, mao ni ang number of years sa basic education na dugangan og tuig. Okay, increasing the number of years of basic education from 10 years to 12 years. And then, this is also called the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. The Enhanced Basic Education Program, kabalo naman tang tanan, at least 1 year of kindergarten, 6 years of elementary, dayon kanang 6 years of secondary education, kay 4 years ang junior, 2 years ang senior. Okay. Then, naasad ta ang Department Order 43 series of 2013, mao ni siya ang implementing rules and regulations of RA 10533. Then, kabahin usab sa ato ang legal basis, ang RA 10157 or gitawag na siya Kindergarten Act. Okay, in which ang first stage of compulsory and mandatory formal education mauna ang kindergarten. So Kindergarten Act. Another legal basis, we have also the DepEd Order number 47 series of 2016, the Omnibus Policy on Kindergarten Education. So gipirmahan na siya, this was issued, okay, this was signed last June 28, 2016. Okay. Now, ang topic na ako is all about curriculum support system, and let me share to you this K-12 curriculum framework. Diri ko magbase sa curriculum support system. Ang curriculum support system makita dinhi sa ato ang K-12 curriculum framework. So, kung curriculum support ang pagahisgutan, kini naglangkob sa atoang teachers. So, unsa man gyud ang curriculum support? Kini naglangkob sa teachers, learning resources, the learning environment, the assessment and exits, nga dili palang dugay gi tackle ni Sir Earl, school leadership and management, and community, industry, and relevance. Arita magsugod sa teachers. Okay. Sa teachers, kay bag-o naman kita, kanang gitawag na itong the shift in education, so na-utro naman yun ka na. So, anaa naman kita karon sa COVID-19 pandemic, ang talan-awon usab na utro. Education landscape has been changed. The delivery of instruction has been changed. Ang klase o pamaagi sa pagtudlo na utro. Dili na siya mao ang naandan na pamaagi sa pagtudlo. So, ang central, regional, and even the division offices nagpahigayon og training, capacity building para sa atong mga magtutudlo. At ron ipahigayon po nato ang capacity building, kinahanglang tukma usab kini sa existing quarantine classification sa atong lugar. So dili siya pwede nga magparehas ta tanan, no? Kay lain-lain man, no, depende na sa tuang lugar. Okay. So kung naibaw-an nato ang existing quarantine classification sa atong lugar, maoy atong basis sa paggambalay sa atong plano when we craft our training designs, our matrix para sa capacity building sa mga magtutudlo. Unsay angay natong i-discuss sa atong mga teachers, even the learning modalities, the deliveries, no, of instruction, importante kini nga mahisgutan. Labi na nga naa kita karon sa distance learning. According to R.D. Bayokot and even Dr. Cherime Limbaco, sa tulo daw ka learning modality, they have made mention that most, no, ang pinaka maayo, suggestions lang po nila, mao ang online learning. Because, as they said, online learning is both synchronous and asynchronous. So kung synchronous, it's the real time. No, na-simulate, nakopya nato ang face-to-face learning, which is not available in the modular distance learning. So kung aduna may training kabahin niini nga learning modality, we have to tell our teachers to be very creative, to be very innovative. Sa lain pong bahin, dili tanan, no, kay online learning magamit gyud na siya og internet. Apan dili tanan maayo ang signal. Dili tanan maayo ang connection nato sa Wi-Fi. No, kung atong lantawon from grade sa atong grade level, enrollment by grade level and even by learning modality, modular learning maoy nag-una. Tungod kay sa lugar lagi hinay kaayo ang ato ang internet connection. Mao na giingong WW wala-wala, no? Unya hinay kaayo atong Wi-Fi klaro. So sa laing bahin ang blended learning makatabang gyud og dako. Ilabi na kung kulang ang atong pondo, kulang ang atong panalapi para sa pagpalit og mga materials for the reproduction of module. No? Magpasalamat kitag dako nga naa ang ato ang LGU nga andam kaayong mutabang nato, no? Pero kung kanilang yung modular ang ato ang hisgutan, mura og kanang naang diha gyud magkaanam gyud kawala to ang pondo, no? Sumao nang naang naatay blended, naatay combination. So, ari punta sa grading system. A while ago, Sir Earl has discussed about portfolio assessment. Okay, that we need our teachers also. Kana sa grading system, the department will issue probably a new memo regarding the new grading system. So dugang paniana, we have also we have to train our teachers also on monitoring our students' progress. Atong una, dali ra kay natong mamonitor atong mga bata kay naaraman sila sa eskwelahan. Ang mga estudyante ana lang sulod sa eskwelahan, sulod sa classroom. Apan karong panahona, ang atong learners wala naman sa school, naa na sa ilahang tagsa-tagsa ka panimalay. So, ang pinaka-importanting training nga atong ipahigayon sa atong magtutudlo, naglangkob sa ilang pagdala o pag-atubang sa mga ginikanan. Kay sa gistorya na, sama sa gistorya ni Sir Earl, ginikanan mao gyunay ato ang kaakibat, maunay ato ang kanang naang kauban nato in shaping the holistic personality of our children. So, kinahanglan nga kining mao nga tahas, school heads are encouraged to train also the teachers. Tudluan nato ang mga teachers, ang atong mga magtutudlo diha sa pag-organisar sa komunidad. Unsay hinungdan? Nganong kinahanglan mang i-organize nato ang atong community? And this is different from the usual General PTA Assembly, katungtuang magkuanta og kanang mga officers, lahi siya. Kay kinahanglanon magud nato kaayo karong panahona ang suporta sa atong ginikanan. So ang tahas sa atong mga ginikanan dili lamang taman sa pagtambong sa PTA General Assembly, sa pagpa-check sa attendance, but it goes beyond that. Ang klase sa suporta nga atong gikinahanglan gikan kanila kinahanglan mulungtad gayud hangtod sa April 30. So maunang naa nga kinahanglan gyud nato nga i-train ang ato ang mga teachers na mauusay mo train, no, mo guide sa ato ang mga ginikanan. Okay. So arita sa learning resources. So kaniadto ang learning resources nga ginagamit sa mga bata sa yundra kay naara sa eskwelahan, and even our kanang naang students dali ra kayo nilang paggamit kay naaraman ang mga textbooks diha sa eskwelahan. School year 29 to 2019 and 2020 ang learning resources na aragyod magamit nila kay naara sa eskwelahan. Apa niining higayuna ang atong mga learners naa naman sulod sa ilang balay. Sa layo na ang maestra ug ang mga bata, no? Dunay distansya. Sa school na atanan ang learning resources. Unya karon kay layo na kaayo kay naa naman, no, sa panimalay ang mga bata. Sa eskwelahan na ang mga textbooks, na ang TV, computer, maps, charts, poster, o parehas anang kanagani mga models kanang ginagamit anang naang sa human torso sa science, no? Aduna usab kitay digital resources, okay, video and software. Na diin magamit sad ta og mga online resources katong ato ang LRMDS, ang DepEd Commons, dayon ang uban na apoy Globe Public Library, naa gani tay katungtuang sa gitoy gihatag sa DOST, naa sad ta na apil na siya sa ato ang learning resources. Na unsaon pag-access niining atong mga bata karon nga ania naman kita sa distance learning. So when parents will report for orientation, kay ato man gyud silang ipatawag August 3 and up to August 20, we have to lend these textbooks to our parents. Kaning atong libro ato ning ipahulam kay atong una ang responsibilidad gikan sa maestra iyang gihatag sa bata karon kay wala na may mga bata ug dili pod allowed ang atoang mga bata nga magawas-gawas sa ilang panimalay, mga ginikanan ra. So ang responsibilidad karon atong ihatag sa mga ginikanan. So ang naandan natong practice sa una, ihatag ang libro sa bata, din ang bata mo ay mo receive, dili na siya pwede karon. Tungod kay wala naman hatagig pagtugot ang mga bata nga makagawa sa ilang balay. So parents na ang modawat sa libro. Ang accountability niini, ang person nga accountable sa maong libro, mauna ang ginikanan. So then, ang mga bata adunay references nga magamit. Nganong kinahanglan natong ipahulam ang mga libro? Take note, ang atong ginagamit kanirang naastong nga self-learning module ug dili sa tanang panahon nga ang atoang mga maestra nagsigig uban-uban, nagtindog naa sa luyo sa ginikanan. So, katong libro, katong reference book, mao to siya kibali pod pwedeng magamit sa mga bata sa panahon nga sila mag-answer na unya sa self-learning module. Okay. And then, another thing, kung naatay mga TV, kung asa manggali nato kanang imit no ang mga bata, so pwede nato mapagamit ang flat screen. Then dili po nato kalimtan ang health protocol nga gihatag sa DOH o sa IATF. Okay. Children are not really allowed to go outside. So ang self-learning module, no, kaning self-learning module, nahulog nga mao na ni siya karon ang mopuli sa maestra. So siya na ang parents mao'y mag-guide sa bata to learn. And we have to remember that regardless of modality, be it online, modular, or radio-based instruction, we will be using the learning, self-learning module as our main tool for learning. So gani naa naman ta karoy katong tuang sa audio, katong sa TVDI, base gihapon sa SLM, ang RBI base gihapon sa SLM. So mauna siya. So na-true gyud kay ngano sa self-learning module dili naman dili naman gud makaanhi ang bata sa atong eskwelahan. So tungod niini sa new normal, ang bata naa na pud sila gitawag nato og learning environment. Kani sa unang picture mauna siya before the pandemic. So the usual kanang naa ang panagtigom sa maestra, bata sulod sa klase, o naa gyud naghuot gani ang mga lingkuranan. No? Mauna ang katong naanda no sa una before the pandemic. Mauna siya ang learning environment. So daghang lingkuranan. Pag-abot sa new normal, after the COVID pandemic, mag-change na karon ang hitsura sa classroom. Unsa may atong mabantayan? We shall be observing social and physical distancing. Ang distance sa bangko, ranging from 1 meter to 2 meters. Dugang pa ni ana, diha sa may pultahan, naa na tay foot bath, naa na tay hand washing facilities, o ang bag-o ganing issuance, gidiscourage man gani ang air condition room. Pangutana, ma'am, wala naman kahay tupis-tupis, wala naman kahay face-to-face. Nganong kinahanglan pa man nga i-arrange ang classroom anang sa new normal? Because we are still hoping nga kung doon na unyay vaccine, mubalik la unyang tanan. So pagbalik ni ining tanan, ana na ta sa new normal diin, we have to observe social and physical distancing sa lingkuranan. Dayon katong sa ako nang ginaingon, ang gawas na anay foot bath, na ana dayon tayo sanitizing hand, sanitizing facilities, preparado ang tanan. So, kaning sa tunga, mao ni siya ang COVID-19 pandemic classroom. Okay, ang bata, no? Mao na siya rang isa. So, apil usab sa atong orientation sa mga ginikanan, ato usab silang hawhagon nga kun mahimo naauntay kanang naang a learning place sa ilang balay, diin sila maka-answer sa ilang assignment, diin sila makatuon, no? Kay importante man gyud kaayo ning niya. Pangutana, ma'am, ang balay ma'am igo-igo man lang, basta kay makig-istorya ta sa ginikanan nga kung mahimo tagaan sad nato og chance ang atong mga anak, ang atong mga estudyante. Okay. So pangutana, How will our learners access learning resources now that we shall adopt distance learning? How will the students use the required learning resources for their class? So dinhi sa classroom, no? Dinhi sa classroom nga naa sa Panimalay, dinhi nato makita ang kabugat kay di ba sa ako nang ginaingon naa na may learning place ang bata sa balay. Dinhi makita ang kabugat sa role o papel o tahas sa ginikanan. Dako na kong kalipay nga ang piniling grupo sa mga ginikanan, PTA officials, niya karon nakig-uban ka nato, naminaw sa YouTube o niya makakauban nato sa MS team. No, daghan kayong salamat sa inyong presensya. Ang pangutana, how to provide a rich experience to all learners who are now without traditional teachers standing beside them in classes. Ang tubag ani, kita ang tagsa-tagsa kanato, maghuna-huna, mamalandong, unsa tuod ang atong angay buhaton. Kay usahay mo negative man ta, di ba? Maingon ta nga Ginoo na lay mag-igo nato unya kam August 24. So we are not sure kung unsay mahitabo, but our desire, our concerted efforts ang atong hiniusang kanang naang tumong makatabang nato, makahimo sa atong mga plano nga successful. Okay. Ginaingon nga even if we have the most outstanding teacher doing the modular distance learning or any modalities other than face-to-face, we will not succeed not unless we have the unconditional support from the parents, guardians, and adults at home. Sumuna kuno nga bisan pa man og unsa na gyud ka bright ang atong maestra, the perfect, the most outstanding, the excellent teacher, kining tanan mamahimong walay kapuslanan kun dili nato makabot ang unconditional support sa parents at home. So atong ginumduman kanunay nga atong awhagon ang atong parents sa pagsuporta. As what I have said, dili lang ninggas kogon nga mulas lang ni siya og usa ka bulan o sa kasimana o sa kabulan, but a kind of support that will last taman sa Abril o taman sa Mayo, no? April 30 naman tataman. Okay, unconditional support. So, dinhi karon, this will be the first time, no, that the attendance will be checked by the parents. Kay wala man si teacher dito nga magsunod-sunod nila, wala magladala og Form 1. Nalimot di ko no nga kanang naang kuan magdaldalag Form 1 niya dili na siya magamit karon kay naa ang ginikanan, siya naman ang direct contact kanunay nga makauban sa mga bata sulod sa ilang panimalay. So wala na siya kuptan nga school register. So kinsa man di ay ang mo check sa attendance, si mama o si papa. So kung atong lang taon, perfect ang attendance sa atuang mga bata. Perfect ang attendance ni Dudong ug ni Inday, wala nay absent, kay naaraman siya sa balay. So ang parents, siya pod ang mag-set sa learning direction. Ang parents mo ang maghatag sa learning schedule sa ilang anak tungod kay naaraman ang ilang anak sa panimalay. Sa ako nang ginaingon, ginikanan mooy atong awhagon niini, dayon kung sila mooy muhatag sa oras, dili magpasabot nga magpabuot na lang pud sila sa oras nga unsa silang orasa mo mata o unsang orasa nga musulod sa klase. Naa gihapon because this will still be guided by the advisor. Okay. So, tungod ni ana naraman sa balay in the normal situation, sa atong una, we prepare the class program nakaset ang activity sa bata gikan sa buntag hantod sa hapon, but as of this time nautro na. Okay, ang parents, guardians, inubanan usab sa mga teachers, sila na ang mag-guide, sila na ang mag-plot para sa learning schedule to give the learning direction. Okay. So, ang ato ra gyud gikinahanglan sa parents ang ilang unconditional support para maka-provide ta og quality education and quality learning sa atoang mga bata. So kinahanglan gyud sila nga muabag. As it is said sa African proverb, it took a whole village to educate, to nurture the child. So dili lang nato pasagdan ang atong mga teachers karong mga panahona, no? Naagyod ang pag-abag sa ginikanan. Okay. So kabahin aning assessment, no? So this was already tackled, discussed by Sir Earl, that before the pandemic, kaning the Department Order number 8 and Department Order number 55, which has something to do with assessments. So natakol naman ni Sir Earl. So, mo proceed ta, no? Kay bag-o naman karon gani kanang naanata ang mga ginikanan kinahanglan nga imatuto i-guide sa teachers on how to come up with that portfolio. Kay mao na atong basis in grading and rating our children. So dili pwede nga kanang naang imata-mata lang pud siya, no? Muna gingon dili pwede atam-atam. Akong balikon, okay, naa gikinahanglan gid nato ang guidance, ang pag-facilitate sa atuang kanang naang parents, bisan pa as what I have mentioned, outstanding ang teacher, excellent ang teacher, copacetic teacher, still wala gini kapuslanan kung wala ning gitawag natog unconditional support sa atuang parents. Okay. So, dinhi sa assessment, no? Assessment, makita nato during the pandemic, makita nato ang involvement of the parents. So, the parents' involvement and commitment to assist their children in the preparation of that portfolio. And this is very necessary. So dili pwede mo ingon si papa o si mama, ma'am imuha na lang nang naa ma'am. Di ba na ay komedya nga mo ingon nga, oy tunga mi anak sa teacher. Dili. Kay based also on research, kana bayang mga bata in which ang kanang naang mga ginikanan, kanunay nag-guide, kanunay nga nag-assist, gwapo pod, no? Productive po kaayo pag-abot sa eskwelahan. So, portfolio naman ang atong assessment karon. Okay, so kinsa ang dapat mo orient sa mga ginikanan? Si ma'am o si sir. So, dili dapat nga mura og PTA General Assembly during the orientation kanang naang dili nato ni himuon ba nga mura og PTA General Assembly ang dating, dapat ang orientation ipahigayon by grade level o para pagani masabtan og mas masabtan og maayo by section. And we need to observe the health protocol prescribed by the Department of Health and the IATF. Bisan pag moingon ta nga dugay man mahuman, ang pinaka-importante nga ma-convince nato ang atong parents to support, to provide us with that unconditional support. So mao ginay atong tahas, this is our challenge to convince the parents, makonbinsi nato ang atong mga ginikanan. Okay. So, arita sa school leadership, no? As part pod atong gisgutan sa unahan, school leadership, usapod na siya kakabahin sa support system. Okay. Importante kaayo ang role sa school heads dinhing dapita tungod kay ang school heads maghatag og assurance sa teachers, sa parents, nga ang principal gyud naa kanunay, naa siya, kauban siya sa community. The school head will journey with the community, with the teachers, learners, and the parents. Dili ni panahon nga mamiya ang parents. Dili ni panahon nga magkawatak-watak ta. Hindi ito panahon sa walang iwanan sa baryo ni Juan. Now, what kind of support should the principal do para sa mga parents and teachers and learners? Una, ang principal should establish a mutual trust. So when we see mutual, sa biology pa na siya, symbiotic relationship. Why mutual? Kay bugat ang role sa parents. Bisan pag adunay kautruhan sa tahas o mga roles karon, the principal is there to support the teachers, parents, and learners. No? So diining panahon na ang ginikanan mo exert usab sa iyang time, sa iyang panahon, sa iyang katakos, diha sa kanang naang pag-educate, no? Pag sa delivery of instruction. Next, the principal should communicate clearly, oftentimes with all the stakeholders. Dapat walay assumption. Dapat walay kanang pangagpas. Dapat dili walay mga mo conclude ka ba, okay lagi na siya. Dili po siya pwede, no? Dili taingon mangagpas, sugot lagi na siya. Kinahanglan nga naatay communication at all times. Dinhi makita nato ang atong constant monitoring of student progress. Okay, dili buot ipasabot nga kumo kay distance learning na ta, wala nay monitoring, dili po na siya mao. So dinhing dapita, pwede pod ang teachers maka do the home visit. That's part also of communicating with the stakeholders. Mag-monitor po siya sa student progress. Okay. Another, the principal should connect with people as individuals and as a group. Di ba sa panahon sa brigada eskwela, ang principal magpadala og sulat ngadto sa kanang naang mga LGU, sa ato mga stakeholders, unsay atong pangayoon, no? Aktibo kaayo kita ni ana. Okay, wala pa man toy restrictions at that time. Wala pa'y mga gipang bawal. Apan lahi na karon ang senaryo. Aware pod ang parents nga walay learners nga maka-eskwela, makaadto, no, sa face-to-face kay wala pa man siya gitugutan, no, karong school year 2020. We hope nga naa na untay available nga vaccine. Karang panahon na we need the support of our parents to know or to even to create demands. We have to inform the public that they owe to help us. Ato gid silang sultihan. Dili pwede nga mangagpas lang ta, dili pwede nga ay mo okay ra lagi na siya. Ato yung iklaro. We have to communicate clearly. Klaro gid nato unsay atong tuyo. Dili kay basta kay mosugot lagi na siya, dili lagi na mo balibad. Iklaro gid nato, and that's what we meant by communicating clearly. Next, the principal or the school head should distribute leadership throughout the organization. Okay, dapat ang tanan adunay role, kay ang teachers karon dapat tanan, no? Dili lang kay pipila lang ang galihok, tanan. Because our concerted efforts would lead, no, would contribute a lot to the success of this great endeavor. Okay, ang usapod ka factor ana naa sa kamot sa principal, ang principal maoy mag-navigate, no? Together with the teachers, siya ang mag-set sa direction. Ang principal is likened to a lighthouse, no, sa parola nga siya duulan sa ginikanan sa mga stakeholders. She has to set the direction. So, klaro kaayo, kinahanglan nga naay direction. Or else, why direction? Okay, so, let's continue. Okay, at this time, we have here our stakeholders, our community partnership. We need to create the demand for our local government unit, for our parents and other community members to help us. One size does not fit all. Okay, sumoni ang pinaka-importante nga part. Dili lang ang parents ragyod ang atong itap, apil na ang ato ang LGU. Akong balikon, mapasalamaton kaayo ta og dako nga wala gyud ta biyai sa atong LGU, especially in the procurement of materials para sa ato ang reproduction sa module. Wala gyud ni biya ang ato ang LGU nato, no? Okay. Great job sa ato ang mga mayor, sa ato ang local government units. Okay. So mao ni ang pinaka-importante nga part, it has something to do with community partnership. Ginaingon nga no man is an island. Ang usa ka eskwelahan dili makabarog kung siya lang. So gikinahanglan nato ang tabang sa ato ang LGU, sa ato ang stakeholders, sa ato ang parents. Sa una naa naman kita gitawag natong community partnership. Pero mas gikinahanglan nato ni karong panahona. And as a DepEd employee, we need to create demands para sa atong LGU, para sa ato ang parents and other community members to help us. Atong hinumduman, one size does not fit all. Kinahanglan nga perceptive ta. Ang strategy nga applicable ani niya nga stakeholder may not be applicable sa lain na pod nga stakeholder. So mao nang naa nga careful gyud ta kay basin og makontrahan ta ni ana, no? So careful gyud ta sa atong pakighugoy-hugoy diha sa atong LGU ug diha sa atong stakeholders kay sila kanunay ang atong kaakibat in developing the total personality of our learners. So, kung ato na kining mabuhat, we shall create demands for them. Angay gyud natong pahibawon kung unsay ilang papel, unsay ilang tahas, unsay ilahang pagabuhaton kabahin ni ining new learning delivery or the delivery of instruction. Muingon gyud ta nila nga musulti gyud ta unsay atong tuyo. As what I have mentioned, dili pwede moingon nga mo sugot ra lagi na, unya dili di ay. Okay. So, we shall come to organizing our stakeholders. So when we organize our stakeholders, nga i-organize nato siya aron na ay direction, no? Dili ma-wider. When we organize, we need to clarify our common goals. We have to tell them kung unsa gyud atong tumong. Unsa gyud ang gusto nimong makabot. What do we want to achieve? Ang atong stakeholders, dili ni sila kanang naabitang manalagna nga tagnaon ako sa imong tuyo. Dili, kinahanglan gyud nga atos lang sultihan kung unsay gusto natong mahitabo, unsay atong pangayoon sa ilaha. So dili nato ipatagna nila kung unsay gustong mahitabo nato. And we have to listen to them. Ano? We need to identify people who are willing to work. Sa pagtawag nato og meeting, we need to identify these people. Kinsa maning mga tawhana nga sincere mutabang. Klase sa tao nga mutabang nga walay gipangayo nga kapalit. Okay, so nindot kaayo nang naa. So listen, we need to identify people nga willing gyud nga mo trabaho. Kay kung naa lang nang naa, willing siya mo trabaho, dili na ta magsugpa. Dili na ta problema kay ngano man makita nato nga kanindot ani niya oy wala man ni siya nang winta. Okay, so identify the parents nga na ay willingness sa pagtrabaho. Okay, and it's that kind of tabang nga biyan sa anak. Dili kay mong tabang ko ani niya oy kay kanang naang naaraba kong anak din ha unya ini kakuan ang mo graduate na iyang anak ay na dili na ko ilisin ako. Kanang na ang klase sa pagtabang, nga kanang na ang sincero. Kung ma-identify na nato ang ato ang mga lumilihok, no? Atong mga tao nga willing yun mo tabang, we can already enhance their leadership capability. So diha, we will build leaders from that community. Ma-develop ato makuan nga, kana siya diha, pwede na dayon nato na, dili na ta dayon kay sa pag-delegate nato sa ato ang trabaho, no? Tawagon na yung delegation head, kay delegate. Sa paghatag nato sa atong responsibilidad, ngadto sa mga teachers, ngadto sa mga ginikanan, naa diha nag-build ka og leaders, no? A community of leaders also. Next, mobilize the community. So we need to mobilize the community now that especially naata karon sa gitawag natog distance learning. So magkinahanglan kita sa support sa atong stakeholders para asaman para sa distribution and retrieval of materials. Maunang sa wala pa lang sa kanang naang layo pa kaayo mo ingon ta nga kanang naang hala unsaon maguda nato nga wala manggutay kanang naang service na unsaon man kana nato, no? So mauna na karon nga mobilize, stop those people nga tan-aw nato dunay katakos sa pag-lead usab. Okay, kay matkatabang ni natog dako in distributing and retrieving the modules. Okay. So, the support that we need from our parents goes beyond their commitment to the homeroom PTA or the Parents Teachers Association. Kanang support mo nang gitawag lagi nato na og unconditional support. Tungod kay mitabang sila nga wala manghinaot o wala magpaabot nga naatay ihatag sa ilaha, no? Kanang naang tabang usa ka klase mo na gitawag natog unconditional support. It's a kind of support that goes beyond measure. Dili na magkwenta sa ilahang kanang naang unsay ilang nangahimo, no? All communications are channeled through the parents. Okay, so ipahibalo gyud nato ang parents. Okay. Karon ang parents gitawag nato ni sila og para teachers. Ang unang role sa parents sa pagsugod pa lang sa klase, they are considered as para professional teachers. Unsa ang para teachers? Ang para teachers, mura na siya bag atong assistant, ato ang kanang naang tutor, no? Sila naa kanunay kanang naang willing nga mo trabaho. So first, we have to capacitate our parents. So i-capacitate, i-train nato sila. Parehas bitaw sa kinder, di ba ang bata wala man gitaw na siya kalibutan pa. So first, ang teacher mokuan to siya, pero ang teacher pag abot na sa kuan dili man sa tanang panahon nga nag-uban-uban nakigkuyog sa kanang naang pamilya nung hanto dito sa balay. So maunang naa pod siya gitawag natog para teachers kato mga aides, no? Nga mutabang og dako para mag-facilitate sa maestra. So kaning mga para teachers mauni sila karon ang mutabang, no, ni ma'am og ni sir. So dako kaayo kini og implication kung ang atong bata dili makasulat, murag maulaw sad ta. Mao nang kinahanglan nato ang tabang sa ato ang parents as para teachers. So importante gyud na kaayo. Okay. And then kaysa ako nang gikaingon, i-train man nato ang bata. It's not a one-time big time training. Kung mahimo, it should be a step-by-step process. Kanang na ang ginagmay nga masabtan og maayo sa ginikanan. Ang ginikanan manggod nga wala tayo hibang kaagan unya dungagan pa na nimo og perting daghana, perting bugata, musamot gyud nang ginikanan nga kanang na ang retira gyud siya. Whereas if we make it easier for them, so dubli ang igo, naka-learn ang ginikanan, dahil siya na pud unya mo facilitate niini paingon ngadto sa iyahang mga anak, no? So training must be from parents' point of view. Okay, when we capacitate our parents atong hinumduman, nga kana sila dili na sila maestra, lahi na ilang calling. Okay, lahi sila sa atua. Some of the parents dili mga educators, and we should never expect a 101% from them. Okay. So it must be from their own point of view. And then, as para teachers, they have to establish good working relationship with parents. Importante yun ni kaayo. Good working relationship. Kay unsaon man nato pag-train ang atong parents kung kita mismo na anatay negative, na anatay enmities, na anatay ill feelings pa nila. Okay, so sa learning plan, ma-implement gayod ni siya karon kay tungod ang learners na araman sa ilang balay. No? So ang ginikanan, guided po sa teacher, maghimo sila sa learning plan. So mauna siya, no? Another thing, as para teachers, no, para professional teachers, that they shall guide and assist also, no, the kindergarten in learning how to read and write. So dili lang kay kinder, bisan sa junior high school, naa sila kanunay ang pangutana, ma'am. Dili man pud sila kay balo mo basa, ma'am. Mauna nga it is a great challenge for us nga atong i-educate ang mga parents. Ginagmay lang, dili lang nato idinagko. Ni anang ginagmay na ay sabtan gamay ang maestra, anang ginagmay niya mas makapasabot pagyud siya sa mga bata. So dili di ay ta failure sa ato ang undertakings. Uy, naara po di ay ko'y puntos, naka-ending ra po di ay ko. Okay, so kana siya, the para teachers or the parents shall explain to their children difficult concepts which would have been done by the teachers. So ang teachers pirmiro mo pasabot ini. Pag abot na ron sa balay, dili biya na magkuyog-kuyog ang mga maestra sa mga ginikanan. So it is again the challenge of the teacher nga mapasabot niya og maayo ang kana nga concept. So as what I have said, dili mistil nga dinagko, ginagmayon lang usa nga in a way nga dali ra kaayong masabtan sa ginikanan ug siya mismo maka-convey niini nga knowledge sa iyahang estudyante, sa iyahang anak. So, ang learning task sa bata, kinsa ang mapasabot niya? Ang parents. O ang parents pod ang maghimo sa daily routine sa bata. Bugat kini nga tahas, kay gikinahanglan man nga i-convince nato ang parents. Nya, moingon man dayon tag usahay, tungod usahay sa atong ka-negative, moingon tagoy suluha diha, ma'am. No? Suluha diha, ma'am. Di ko magpakahiro, but it is a call for all of us. Kanang hagit ni nato, kay og dili pud ta ani ni amo tayada o wala pud tay buhaton, kinahanglan mo exert kita sa atong effort because we are paid by the government. So at least konsuelo pud, no, nga atong ikahatag nga at least ni tayada pud di ay ta, no, ni hatag pud ta sa atuang kaugalingon diha sa atong pagtayada, diha sa atuang pagpasabot sa ginikanan. Kay ang atong tumong nga ang bata makasabot. So tarungon yun nato sa pasabot, no? So sayang lang kay wala namang guta atong tupis-tupis, so dili na kaayo. So mas gikinahanglan ang atong time karon diha sa atuang pag-exert og more effort aron lang ang ginikanan makasabot ug aron usab ang bata makasabot gikan sa ginikanan. Again, i-convince gid nato ang parents nga dili pwede ang one time big time orientation. Kung mahimo ginagmay, no, bugat gid kaayo ni siya nga kanang na ang role, bugat nga tahas. But we have to assure our parents that we will journey with them time to time. Kinahanglan gyud nato silang i-communicate. So mo na to, parents now create the daily routine. So again, as parents, diha pod kay naaman sa balay, dili po nato patuyangan ang mga bata nga pakamata asag dilang oy umubata na siya alas 12 nya ang klase niya alas 10. Dili pod pwede. No? We have also to think nga naa pod sila klase anang mga panahon na. And as parents, it is our role nga matabangan sila. And then parents and volunteers to help in module distribution and retrieval. Okay, so unsa ganito yung unang role sa parents? Mo-guide sa mga bata. Karon na pud siya lain, no? Mo-guide, mo-answer Munang na ang i-capacitate po nato ang parents di ay dili lang ang maestra. Karon na ana po laing role ang parents as a distributor. Siya mo ay mag-distribute, siya mo ay mag-retrieve sa mga module. Ang atong parents maoy maoy kibali gitawag sila volunteer sa pag-distribute o pag-retrieve sa ato ang module. And SDS Limbaco had even suggested nga kung mahimo ang atong sectioning sa klase must be strategic. Strategic. Atong i-consider ang geographical location sa bata para sa yunra paghatod o pagkuha sa module. No? Maunang naa nga ang sectioning naagid siya geographical location. Dayon, kung managsilingan, sa yunra kay pagkuha, labi na kung ang ato i-request kana kung ginikanan nga gikan ni anang lugara. Okay. Ang parents nga mo assist kanila or kanato should be coming from that specific area para dili ta maglisod sa ato ang distribution of retrieval. Although na ay mga ginikanan nga willing kaayong mutabang nato, no? Pero dili po ta ka-provide sa ilahang transportation expenses. Usahay maka-provide, usahay po dili. No? So maunang na ang gitawag sila as volunteer para sa pag-distribute o pag-retrieve. So, ang ato ang parents, mauni sila, no? Mauni ang atong volunteer. So, maong dapat strategic ang atong sectioning nga ang magdala o mag-distribute gikan gyud anang lugara, no? From the same place. Ikatulo, learn to say thank you. Sa gipangbuhat sa kanang naang ginikanan, wala man gyud tay laing ikabayad nila, pag-ingon lang gyud nga thank you. So again, sa ato ang pag-request nila, pag-distribute o pag-retrieve sa module, it should be clear destination. Time and motion, istudyohan po nato ang time and motion nga dili magbalik-balik. Clear destination. Kana bang asa siya ihato dito gyud dili kay ay nasayop man ko oy. And then time and motion. Nga kanang paghatod nila oy nasayop na ito siya. So unsay nahitabo, it's a waste of time, a waste of effort also. So kinahanglan clear gyud ang destination asa ang atong time and motion. Okay, dili magbalik-balik. Okay, ato pong walaon ang ningas kugon ability, ningas kugon attitude. Parehas bitaw anang kugon. Imo bitaw ng silaban, itsahan imo na og puspuro nga nagkuan siga. Dali kay siyang modilaob. Dali pug kaayo siyang maugdaw. Ingana usahay ang atong organization. No? Mura na ningas kugon nga abtik may lang spirmiro pag abot na sa tunga-tunga, pag abot na sa katapusan wa na namatay impas. Okay, aktibo sa sinugdanan, namatay kadugayan. So let us keep the fire burning in us. Let us always encourage our parents to support, and we have to create the demands for them to support us always and regularly. So another thing, provide logistic support. Kana di ay pag-alsa-alsa, maghakot-hakot o mag-deliver. Dili na kaya sa principal, dili na kaya sa maestra. Gikinahanglan gyud nato ang panabang sa atong mga ginikanan. Another thing also, balik ta atong thank you, magamay o madako, we have to recognize the efforts of our parents, the efforts of our stakeholders. Sa pag-distribute sa mga module, teachers will take the lead. And then dili po nato pwedeng pasagdahan nga parents lang po. Okay. So, mauna siya, no? Katungtuan sa mga para-teachers. So, they help in distributing and retrieving. So, it's not easy for us to convince them. We need to come up with the right approach. Kinahanglan gyud nga naatay strategy maayo nga approach nga kanang naang dili sila kabalibad, kanang musugot sila. Nisugot sila dili tungod kay aron magtagaan og dugang grado ang ilang anak, but nisugot sila because they firmly believe nga kabahin sila, no? In exerting their perseverance in kanang naang sa ilahang commitment and dedication sa pagmold sa holistic personality sa bata. Okay, so our parents' role in distance learning, parents should partner with other parents. No man is an island. Gikinahanglan nato ang tabang sa usag-usa. So kanang naang mo-partner sila kay ngano lisod kaayo kung ang usa ra ka parents mo ay magbalik-balik, mamatay biya po na siyang sugo-sugoon, no? So naara para nga kanang naang malaiten pod ang trabaho. And keep a close contact with the teacher of your child. As advisor, kung mahibo, naatay number, cell number sa ato ang kuan, ato ba kang kailas na sa Facebook, no? O naatay number nila sa cellphone, kay aron makontak nato sila dayon. Hasta pod ang ginikanan. Another, okay, so ginikanan, mao ni ilang role. A close contact with the teacher of the child. Dili kay da sagdaan na nako na si ma'am oy. Encourage your children to do physical activities. Okay, and begin each learning class day with a follow-up. Kung wala mag-follow up, dili nato ma-monitor. Kung dili nato ma-monitor, and it would just die a natural death. So, sa atong hapon, kaning kahaponon karon, sa topic nga curriculum support system, naa nato tanan magsumikad ang effort to convince our parents. Take note, we have to instill this in our minds, dare and care. Dare, determined. There must be determination. There must be action. And then naata aning gitawag na to resiliency, di natitinag. No, di kita matarog. Okay. And then we have also this effort. The effort to be exerted by us. Dare to do the challenge. And care. Care has something to do with care, commitment. Care and commitment for the children. And then we also have this active participation. And then responsible enough. Naa ang kadausa nato adunay responsibility to tackle. And then effort. We have also this empathy, putting ourselves in the shoes of others. We dare to do this because we care. Dare and care. Maayong hapon kanatong tanan. Okay, thank you so much, Sir Flor. That ends my presentation for this afternoon. Okay, sir?
Hello, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am Ten. Ma'am Kristen.
Okay, Ma'am Vilma. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Vilma.
Thank
For
you,
the
Sad,
third-
Ma'am Tin.
Okay, for the third discussion on the curriculum support system. This time, our last speaker, no other than the senior education program specialist, Rasmila Kusain, to talk about school's communication plan. Mamay, take it away. Mamay, May. Sir Flo, ready na
Yan.
si Mamay?
Ma'am Tin,
Okay, yes, sir.
Mamay is not around, so I will be presenting the action plan, implementation
Okay,
plan
sige, sir.
rather.
Okay.
Okay. So once again, ladies and
Okay, Sir
gentlemen.
Earl. Kinsa ni nag-present?
Okay, once
Okay, Sir
again, ladies
Earl.
and
Wait, Sir.
gentlemen, good.
Okay, so our third speaker, the school's communication plan will be discussed by the Education Program Supervisor, Sir Earl Villagonzalo.
Okay. Once again, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. So this time, I will be presenting the implementation plan. Actually, this is for the public schools district supervisors and the school principals, because after this training, they will be cascading this to their respective districts. This time, the audience or the participants will be the parents of their respective districts. So before implementing, before capacitating parents in the new learning landscape, so public schools district supervisors are expected to submit an implementation plan. So this is the template of the implementation plan. So first is the advocacy plan. So in the first column of the advocacy plan, you have there the task slash communication plan. So the example for that is forum. So you write your audience, what are your goals, format. The format refers to the platform that you will be using. So are you going to, if you're using the online format, online platform, please specify what particular application are you going to use. Are you going to use MS Teams or Google Meet or other online learning platform? And then you specify also the schedule as well as the responsible person. So that's the first table for the advocacy and advocacy plan. And then for the next, we have the CAPB plan, capacitating parents in the new learning landscape. So you write your objectives and then target time, platform of delivery. So if it is radio, please write the station and then the air time. So what time will it be aired? And then if it is online or webinar, please write the video calling platform. So see, video calling platform will be either MS Teams or Google Meet. Or if you like, if you want to use Zoom, you can also use Zoom. Okay. And then next is you will write the matrix of activities. This is for the training. So date and time will be the first column, and then the topics, and then resource person, and then you write also the host of the day. Then below the matrix of activities, please write the team members, and then below is the name of the schools division, our schools division superintendent, because he's the one who will approve the advocacy plan as well as the CAPB plan of each district. So the timeline for this, for the capacitating parents in the new learning landscape, as much as possible, you can cascade or you can capacitate the parents on or before Wednesday. Ang pinakadugay na nga Wednesday. So you can actually start on Monday, Tuesday, and then pinakadugay na ang Wednesday. So yun. So that will be our timeline for the capacitating parents in the new learning landscape. So iba po yung advocacy plan natin ha. Advocacy plan in terms of the learning modalities, most especially because we need to orient our parents also about the learning modalities. Ba't kailangan pa nating mag-orient ng learning modalities where in fact we also have advocacy plan for the division level? Ang kuan mo na to, ang manner of executing or operationalizing the different learning modalities is different for each district. Kino-contextualize nyo kasi or iba-iba yung strategy ang ginagamit ninyo in order to operationalize the different learning modalities, which is which can be seen in your learning continuity plan. For example, sa manner of retrieving distributing and retrieving your modules. So iba-iba po. Ang iba po gumagamit ng barangay officials. Other districts also would want to utilize the parents the distribution as well as the retrieval of the learning modules. So different strategies in operationalizing the learning continuity plan, most especially the different learning modalities. So kailangan natin ng advocacy plan. Pwede ninyong i-air sa radio ang kanyang advocacy plan. Pwede rin sa TV, pwede rin sa Facebook, no? Mag-live streaming kayo, pwede rin 'yon. So that's an example of the task for your advocacy plan. Okay? So I think that would be all, Ma'am Tin, for the implementation plan. Ma'am Christine.
Hello, Ma'am Tintin. Ma'am Christine.
May we ask from the district supervisors if you have questions about the implementation plan that I presented earlier?
Sir Earl, na ako
Yes.
akong i-kuan basin og imuhan ning uban akong i-present ha.
Sure.
Kaya lang. Kaya lang kaya. Okay, makita na nimo?
Sir, good PM. Can we have a copy of your PowerPoint presentation? The PowerPoint presentations of all the topics will be given to your district supervisors, and then please ask a copy from them. How will working parents help their children to their studies, arriving at home already late at night? Yeah, actually we understand that. It's very difficult to answer that question, but what we should do is if we have extra time as parents, we have to extend it to our children. We in the Department of Education, we cannot also ask you to stop working because you need that. No? You need that, and your family also need that. If that's the case, you can actually utilize the siblings of your children, the ate, the kuyas, the lula, the lolos, kung able pa sila. So pwede na to i-utilize sa maginikanan pod nga gabi na mo uli, kung naadyo tay time, pwede na to i-follow up lang gihapon ang atong mga bata. I know that it is taxing. Pag uli na to sa balay, lisod na kaayo, kanang kapoy na kaayo tanan, but we do not have any choice. Ato lang gihapong tagaan og pagtagad ang pagtuon sa atong mga bata. Kay importante man na sa ilaha gihapon. So sa karon nga time, we really need to sacrifice. That's for sure. We really need to sacrifice so that our children would receive a very good education because at the end sila lang gihapon ang makinabang sa ilaang pag-eskwela. Okay, may we ask a copy of your presentation? Okay, that's already answered. How important the role of parents in the new normal to their children? Actually, this question is already answered by the different presentations made earlier. No, the answer is very important. DepEd, the Department of Education, cannot do its job without the help of the parents. So as of this time, we really need the full cooperation of the parents in order to realize our goals. How can we help our children this time of pandemic? It's a very broad question. I will answer this in the context of education. What we are doing now is actually helping our children in times of this pandemic. Education must not stop. Education must go on. That is why the Department of Education is doing all its best in order to provide still quality education despite the pandemic that we are facing right now. Can we suggest to the LGU some roles of the parents for them to craft an ordinance as part of their instructional support? If yes, particular roles of parents can we include? Yeah, it's up to you. You can actually suggest nobody is prevented there. It's better nga eh. It's better na it's better to in carrying out uh, the different of the parents. What else? Are there other questions, Sir Flor?
Base na sa atong kuan mga partner nga nakakaroon sa MS Teams. Masignay gusto mangutana.
Yes, I like the idea presented here. It's not a question, but it's more of statement. Parents and teachers must have support to each other to gain the said program for the learners. Yes, it's very true po. It's very true. Parents and teachers should work hand in hand in order to support their learners. Now, if they want their learners to succeed. We can cater two or one or two questions from the participants. May question pa po ba?
Hello, meron pa po ba?
Sir
You can
Earl.
ask directly to Sir Earl.
Okay,
sir.
two questions na po tayo ha because we're running out of time.
Merong isa, sir. Sino to?
Yes, ma'am. Please identify yourself, ma'am.
Sir Earl, si Jam Arumpak ni.
Yes, ma'am Jam.
Kung sa una mo pag online nga, weak kaayo ang signal sa Pantar. Yan ang problema talaga namin.
Online, ma'am, in terms of what?
Halimbawa implement through Google Meet or Zoom.
Are you
Kasi
talking
hindi
about
pwede-
the capacity building?
Yes, capacity building, sir.
In terms of capacity building, okay, because there is no signal for the parents. Please look for other strategies, ma'am, so that we can actually capacitate the parents in this new normal, in this new learning landscape. Yeah, we understand that that's really a problem. When there's no face-to-face instruction or there's no face-to-face conferences with regards to that area.
Bitaw, sir. Ang problema gyud mi ana. Sige lang, sir, na lang mi sa akong
Please strategize na lang siguro, Ma'am Jam.
Sir Earl. Hello, Sir Earl.
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
Sir Earl. Sir Earl, kana bang sa orientation, we will start August 3 up to 20 only. So, almost 2 weeks, 2 weeks gyud, di ba? online gihapon ang among pag-orient, or we can have it by learning by grade level lang nga ginagmay ra kaayo.
Actually,
Ginagmay ra
ma'am,
kaayo.
it depends to your strategy. If the IATF in your respective municipalities would allow you to have face-to-face interaction, provided that all the health protocols are observed, then why not do
Yeah.
it? Okay, as long as we have the clearance, we have the
ikaw
clearance to
Swaga,
do it.
we started already the orientation of teachers kay ang amo is kuan man ni tablet. So nag-orient ang mga ang school heads, pero kana yung social distance nga lagyo kaayo good. I was there. Diyon ang barangay, ang Libertad pod ila pong nag-orient na pod sila sa parent about sa amo ang tablet, pero lagyo kaayo. Kay lisod na
Yes, ma'am.
kay
Jo.
may
That's a good
online.
strategy. That's a good
Oo.
strategy, provided that there is a clearance. That's very important.
Murag ingan ra gyud among mahitabo nga ma-reach na mo ang parents kung unsay atong pamaagi.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, correct.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Sir Earl.
For
Anyway,
the-
mananghid man sad mi.
Yeah, for
Coordinate mi
the
sa
others, no? Yeah, correct.
local IATF.
For the
I will
others,
coordinate.
you can do that provided that you have clearance to the Department of Health, please.
Sige po,
Okay.
Sir Earl.
Thank you, Sir Earl.
Thank you, Sir Earl. Sir Earl, thank you.
Yes, welcome, Ma'am Jam. So I think, Sir Flor, we're done.
Ay, usa ka question na usa ka quandary, how can illiterate parents assist their children?
Yeah, that's a big challenge. What do you mean by illiterate? Meaning they could not read and write, Sir Flor?
Maybe.
Okay, so in that case, actually we can also ask help from our neighbors. We can ask help from our neighbors. Maybe they could also help. They could also help them. Or we'll just exhaust all the means. Wherein there is a way where we could help them, and I really see that as a big challenge on the part of the parents, because how can they teach their children if they themselves could not actually read and write?
Good afternoon.
Wala naman siguro, Sir Earl. Napa ba? Napay mga questions? Other questions?
Can we cater? When we have that one last question? May na good afternoon kanina.
Isa to?
Good afternoon, si Maymay ni.
Ay, si Maymay mo diyan.
Or kapot na mo. Dili, for example, bitaw sa Baroy District, na ay anay isa ka school dito na sila task force, kumbaga na sila gitap nga parent nga may mag-lead pod. Basi hindi pod mabuhat na sa uban na school nga na mga parents nga willing to help na kuan mag-ano po sa mga schools. So pare sa Baroy District to siya na sila buhat na task force na parent ang ilang kuan ilang gitap. Basin pod pwede na sa uban na schools o sa district.
Yes, maayo kay na siya nga kuan mamay. Maayo kay na siya nga suggestion. No, that would also answer the question, how can illiterate parents assist their children? Please ask the help of your barangay officials. Maybe they could also extend help to those illiterate parents so that their children could also be assisted.
Basin diri mo gawas tong kuan, Sir Earl. Katubi tong atong gi-propose sa una nga mura og by purok nga kuan mag-create og murag learning center by purok. If in case parihani nga naingani nga situation, at least ang community magtinabang nga inya gamay ram pud sila kay within the purok, controlled pud sa purok officials, dali ra nila pag-manage kay within the purok raman.
Yes, sir. That's a good idea, sir.
Sir Flor.
Yes.
Sir Flor, ang kang kuan
Yes,
gan
ma'am.
Sir Flor kang kanini ang Ma'am Limbako, ang tawag gali niya kay sa iyang ubang sectioning zoning.
Yes, ma'am. Zoning. Oh.
Zoning kay murag gamay-gamay ra.
Gamay ra.
Dayon, kung naay problema, makatinabangay sila ba dili ra gyud kaayo maiwit ang bata kung naay mga illiterate nga parents naaray makatabang-tabang gyud nga kuan.
Lagi.
Oh.
Kay kung sa purok man good or kanang zone, usa ka zone, gamay ra limited number of household ra man na, and then kaila ra po na sila. And then kung maayla ang pagdala ang community katong kanang atong gi-require nga social distancing, kaya kay siya i-implement ani nga situation kay gamay ra man gud ang ma-involve.
Dayon
Dili
sayon
siya
na
crowded.
pag-monitor. Sayon
Dali
na
ra po
pag-monitor.
pag-monitor.
Kung dili gani mo answer, ana ilahad yun na encourage gyud nila. Kuy sila ra mo silingana.
Okay. So, kailangan for the school heads, ang sectioning, strategize na to ang sectioning.
Yes.
Strategize sectioning by purok. That's a very good, actually, that's a very good strategy. Kaya kung by
Geographical
purok
location.
dali ra kayo siya magkita ang mga bata. So, that's correct. Magkatinabangay ra pud ang mga parents. Kaya within raman siya sa purok. So, magkita-kita ra sila permente.
Okay.
Ang plano nga,
Napay-
we will do
sige.
it by purok. Pero Sir Earl, pwede mangayo mi og PowerPoint
Yes,
presentation.
yes, of course. Because you will need this in your capacity building.
Yes. So, for the 2 days nga ano nato.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Sige, thank you Sir Earl.
Before we'll end, si Ma'am Chief, basig na announcement, Ma'am Arlene. Okay. So, Ma'am Tin, wala naman siguro, Ma'am Tin. Back to you.
Ma'am Christine.
Mo exit na ko sir ha kay mo uli na ko musakay na ko.
Hello, Ma'am Christine.
Wala naman si Ma'am Christine. So anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. In behalf of our schools division superintendent, our assistant schools division superintendent, and our two chiefs, thank you so much for participating this webinar on the role of teachers, the role of parents rather, in the new learning landscape. Okay, so our efforts, our collaboration is very important here if we want to succeed. So if we do not collaborate, there's no way we can reach our goal. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And this is Earl Villagonzalo signing off.
Thank you, Sir Earl. Ato siguro i-recognize po, Sir Earl, ang atong participants nga ni attain karong hapuna. As of now, natay mga LG officials na naka-attain. There are 8 LGU officials, and then 2 of that mayor sa LGU sa Sapad and LGU sa Munay, and then the rest are SB members, barangay captain, napay sa mga representative na secretary, and then we also have parents. Dagandaghan yung atong mga parents nga naka-participate. Edit lang ha. There are 20 parents nga naka-participate sa atong activity karon. And then the rest of that are DepEd personnel. So, thank you sa tanan. Una pagyuday tay mga PTA officers. Daghan-daghan po ni mga PTA officers na to. 11, nato yung mga PTA officers na 11 kabuok. PTA president, mga nga na, no? So, from different municipalities. And
Katawa Igsoon.
Hello, Igsoon.
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 Katawa Igsoon.
Pag na po tulon,
naabot sa
si
atong mga DepEd personnel. Daghan-daghan ni atong mga DepEd personnel.
Lupuhan mo diya pa
DepEd personnel from the different schools in Lanao del Norte. Kini sila ang mga naka-attend karon sa naka-attendance karon sa ato ang activity. So, thank you sa tanan.
Sir Flor, wala na ba
Thank you.
Thank you kay labi na ning atong mga higala sa kahanginan.
Sa kayo pa nagbas.
Sila Igsoon Tantan.
Ulit na ko Igsoon.
Ulit na ka.
Diri si Kuan di ay Cardo.
Picture sa ta, picture.
Kadoro pa yung kuwan dire.
Ay, picture sa ta.
Thank you.
Okay, picture.
Picture, open cam.
Ano ba niya ako 31 day.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Jot lang.
Okay, Mido,
Smile.
Alright.
Ay.
Smile tanan.
Kaya ganun ko kinatawa.
Katong humana og kun.
Katawa lang tani, Igsoon. Kinaghan kita gito atubang.
Kagawad, thank you kagawad ha.
Thank you guys sa atong mga LGU officials. Salamat guys sa
Tower. Yapel.
2 days activity po.
Tuntan. Tuntan. Oy, nakalagay ka doon. Mapay pag-abot mo doon?
Thank you. Dagdag Salamat.
Nahuman naman, inabot na noon ka.
Rick.
Oy.
Hello.
Hello.
Yan ang nasimisay.
Hello, Mama.
Normal.
Parang sige mo sa sorry.
Ha?
Sorry.
Sa Sir Flor?
Suot ko sa magsaysay.
Kuan aning kauban.
Sorry.
Kuan, na-present ba tong composition sa kuan sa ilahang plan?
Ha?
Composition sa
na-present.
ilang buhato.
Present man to. Present ni Sir Earl.
Isa ang kuan, 7 members na siya, diba?
Oy, pakipya mo yung program ha.
Ngayon, countersign ang ka-chief bago mo perma
Meron ba ako?
Katong gihatag nimo nga, katong gikuan nimo nga presentation, mo to yung i-present.
Okay. Sige.
Okay. So, salamat sa tanan.
Thank you.
Sa atong mga participants po sa live training, thank you sa inyong pag-participate. Thank you sa inyong tanan. Salamat na nakapaabot mo from 1 o'clock up to 4. Nakapaabot mo. Maybe some of you, di kapoy na.
Sir Flo,
Yes, Ricky.
parking statement from Mr. Yorong ko na.
Ha?
Parking statement from Mr. Yorong at Bangsaysay.
Sige, go.
Kana.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
Closing
closing remarks pa mo. Huma naman.
Yeah.
Closing sa pula. Closing na.
Ay, gwapo talaga maigo.
Estreses sa tanan. Estreses. Ingat.